Isang paalaala, ang susunod na kabanata ay naglalaman ng mga salita at pahayag na maaaring magdulot ng takot, pangamba at pagkabahala sa mga nakikinig, lalo na sa mas nakababatang gulang. Huwag magpatuloy kung kinakailangan.
Welcome to episode 298. Ako po si Earl, ang inyong camp master, at ito ang Santelmo Society ng Philippine Campfire Stories. Ang Santelmo Society ay ang listener's story segment ng ating show kung saan babasahin natin ang mga kwento mula mismo sa ating mga tagapakinig. By the time this will be released, siguro nakapag Christmas party na kayo or naghahanda na para sa holidays na at ini-endure na ang Christmas rush. Take this as a gentle reminder na hindi niyo po obligasyon na regaluhan ang lahat. Take into consideration ang budget ninyo at learn to live within your means. I say this based on experience kasi nakaka-pressure yung bigay ng regalo sa office, especially yung may mga secret Santa pa and all that. Ang hirap din kasi na ilagay pa sa budget yung mga bagong damit for the Christmas party, tapos regaluhan pa yung mga kaopisina, mga kamag-anak at maghahanap pa ng mga last minute sale. Tapos walang masakyan kasi traffic. Nako, the anxiety is anxietying for me. Pero syempre, ako lang to. Some people really enjoy the giving season of the holidays at sa mga gaya nila, saludo ako sa mga nakapaganda para doon. Sa mga campers lang na hindi nakapaganda, huwag sana kayo ma-pressure. Ibigay nyo lang ang mga name nila sa akin at isa-shoutout ko sila sa next episode with your special messages para low cost na personalize pa yung gift mo. Okay ba yan? For today's episode, let's listen to some of the old stories from previous episodes and magbalik tanaw muna tayo sa ilan sa mga nanakot sa atin before. Una na ang mga 1-bit stories ng sender na itinago natin sa initial na R. This was from episode 251 from December of 2024. Let's listen to R's story. Hello, Camp Master. You can call me R. I've been listening to your podcast since we started doing on-site work again, once a week to keep me from being sleepy in the afternoon. Every week, I always hope na yung latest episode is wala pang green check, meaning may new episode ako na mapapakinggan. Natapos ko na kasi lahat ng episodes mo, so I'm always on the lookout for a new upload. What I like most about your podcast is hindi lang mga sobrang intense paranormal experiences ng listeners ang meron. I really like the short ones. Mga random one-off encounters na perhaps ay instantly nagpaiba ng beliefs ng senders about paranormal things, for better or for worse. That inspired me to share these rather random experiences. I previously didn't want to entertain these experiences fully, much less immortalize them by having them published on a podcast. But here we go. First story, highway. I am now living in Metro Manila, away from my childhood home sa Bacoor, Cavite, situated sa isang subdivision along the Anghari Road, which was relatively new back then and not as bustling as it is now. Even yung popular EVA Mall ay hindi pa naitatayo that time. I know you're in the US, so you can just look up this place on Google Maps para you'd have an idea of the expanse ng Daang Hari. High school ako noon and looking to lose a bit of weight. I used to jog early in the morning from our subdivision all the way to the bridge kung nasaan yung EVA ngayon. Morning jogs are peaceful kasi probinsya vibes pa talaga doon dati. Wala pang buildings and establishments along the Anghari, with nothing, puro talahiban lang. There were several shallow creeks intersecting this road, and may open drains yung road sa parts na ito to let the creek water cut through the road. I was already jogging back and halfway home as I was about to pass by one of those drains when I started hearing a distant singing voice. first, I didn't make anything out of it. But since halos naglalakad na lang ako dahil pagod na ako sa pagtakbo, I couldn't help but hear more of it as I slowed down my pace. It was a very faint singing voice. Too distant to understand any of the words it's singing, but close enough to know it's there. I stopped and listened intently, scanning the area. Nothing but grass lots and the road. No one in sight. No houses. Nothing. Early morning ito kaya mangilan-ngilan lang ang cars driving by. I even went on to stand on top of a concrete roadside barrier and tried to look farther into the grass, still trying to catch more of the siren-like, almost hypnotic sound na similar doon sa part ng Lord of the Rings nung nakarating na yung fellowship sa Lothlorien. I snapped back to myself and decided to sprint away, not wanting to let my curiosity get the best of me. Nandun kasi yung feeling na gusto mong alamin kung saan nga ba galing yun. I really felt tranced na there's this beautiful voice that equally sounded like it's there and not there. I was weirded out because there was literally nobody around at kung nasan ako ay malayo pa from the nearest subdivision in both directions. Back when I was younger, my mom always warned us about not traversing the creek sides sa loob ng subdivision namin, believing these waterways are laden with unseen beings and would do well not to disturb them. I heard podcast stories din kasi about the Anghari, so that sort of validated this vague experience of mine. The next story is called House. When I was in high school, my being the youngest of the family came to an end after 15 years. My mom gave birth to my baby sister. My dad had to go back to his seafarer job. My older sister naman was in Manila for college, so to help take care of my baby sister, my lola stayed with us. One time, may school project kami ng mga kagroup ko na we had to do after school sa may vacant lot near our subdivision gate. And nung nagdidilim na, we decided na pumunta sa bahay namin and doon na lang mag-wrap up at magpahinga muna saglit bago sila umuwi. Pagdating namin sa bahay, andun yung mom ko and yung lola ko who was holding my baby sister. Syempre pagdating namin, andun yung typical na, "Hi po tita," and, "Aw, kapatid mo yan?" Those small talk while they adored my baby sister as my lola held her. A bit later, habang nagdadaldalan kami ng mga classmates ko sa sala, I noticed my mom and my lola started to panic. Apparently, my sister seemed to have stopped breathing and couldn't be woken up. Siyempre, nagpanic din ako. My mom rushed outside at tumawag ng tricycle while my lola followed her, barefoot even. And sumakay sila sa trike and sped away. Naiwan kami ng mga classmates ko para magbantay sa bahay. But I told them I want to follow sa hospital since it's not far from our subdivision. The girls went with me and the boys were left to watch over the house. We got to the hospital and they weren't there, so I called my mom on her mobile phone and we found out sa pediatrician clinic pala sila dinala. And thankfully, okay na. Relieved, the girls and I went back sa bahay. We were chatting as we waited for my mom and my lola to get back home. Casually, nabanggit ng isa kong girl classmate na earlier when we arrived, when they were saying hi to the baby, there was one man na nakiki-hi and nakiki-baby talk. And she asked, kung tatay ko yun? This gave me goosebumps. Kasi ako lang ang lalaki sa bahay. My dad was always away as a seaman. She couldn't have mistaken it naman as one of our male classmates because we were all in our uniforms. Tinanong ko siya ng tinanong kung anong itsura. But she answered she paid no special attention naman because she thought kasama lang namin sa bahay yun. She thought nothing out of the ordinary of it earlier. Nagkatakutan tuloy. Nakauwi na din si Mama and Lola and my sister was okay. Nothing else happened naman after that, thankfully. Was that mysterious man what caused my sister na mawala ng malay? Dito sa moment na to, nagsimula yung strict na pagpapractice ni Mama na puwera usog. Every time uuwi kami at sasalubungin siya. Somehow, in relation to this incident, a couple of years later, we visited our tita's rented apartment in Alabang, as we usually do after Christmas. Ako, ang mom, ate, and my baby sister all went. When we got there, andun yung usual kamustahan with my tita and my cousins. It was a rather small apartment and the sala was narrow, kaya medyo siksikan as everybody was greeting each other. Ang star of the show, syempre, was my baby sister, and they were all adoring her. While every one of us was cheerfully chatting, for some weird reason, biglang yung mom ko and yung cousin ko, while talking to each other, suddenly moved as if to give way. Yung para bang may gumigit-git between them going to the innermost part of the house habang busy silang nag-uusap. It wasn't long until everyone noticed and got weirded out kasi sabi nilang dalawa, "May dumaan, di ba? Sino ba yun?" May tao daw na nakidaan. Napansin lang talaga namin na parang nag-give way silang dalawa. The funny thing was, wala namang daang palabas on that side of the house. Kasi wala namang back entrance. Kusina at CR lang ang nasa dulo ng apartment. And walang bintana. So kung may dadaan man papunta dun, he has nowhere else to go. But nobody was there. Another experience was when my ate gave birth to his son. Naalala ko ito dahil may similar story sa podcast mo na napakinggan ko before. That time medyo pinarenovate yung house namin and my parents made it a point na may spacious open air utility area kami sa likod. Napapaligiran ng ibang bahay on all sides ang house namin except sa harap kung nasaan yung gate. Yung bathroom and washing machine area ay nasa semi-outdoor area sa likod. There, you can also access the fully outdoor sampayan area. Hindi pa na-install yung sliding screen doors na magsiseparate sa semi-outdoor washing machine area at outdoor sampayan area, kaya exposed yung likuran ng bahay at that time. Single mother yung sister ko, kaya kami yung tumutulong sa kanya to take care of the baby. Yung room na shared namin ng sister ko since way back kung saan nangyari ito had a sliding window na pagdungo mo yung likod ng bahay ang makikita mo, looking out into the mentioned washing machine area. The room had no AC, so bukas yung window lagi for extra ventilation na secured naman ng iron grills. One night, nakatulog yung sister ko sa bed holding her newborn. Yung headboard ng bed is just an arm's length from outside through the window. Naglatag lang ako sa sahig and doon ako natulog para anytime kailangan ng ate ko ng assistance, nandun lang ako. Naalimpungatan ako in the middle of the night. When I sat up and checked in on my sister, who was still sleeping, wala na yung baby sa arms niya. Panicked, I looked around and found my newborn pamangkin on the floor beside the bed. Napa-OMG ako, and I immediately picked up my bundled pamangkin off the floor, who was sleeping soundly while I voiced out, "Uy ate, yung baby mo nasa sahig!" Which caused her to wake up na din in panic. I handed my pamangkin back to my ate who was super worried and started checking the baby for anything. Pero thankfully, wala namang nangyaring unusual apart sa nasa sahig siya. He was sleeping peacefully. No injury whatsoever. Interestingly, the baby seemed to have perfectly landed on a pair of fluffy indoor slippers, seemingly having prevented him hitting the concrete floor. Syempre, this commotion woke up my mom too, and she rushed into the room. We were all puzzled by what happened. And syempre, the rest of the night was my mom going on full grandma mode, repeating, "Ingatan mo ang baby mo, Diyos ko po." Our titas came over the next day, all excited to see the newest member of our family. Syempre, naikwento namin yung nangyari the previous night, and they were just as puzzled as us until one of my titas remarked, "Ano yun? Papunta na dito." As she gestured towards the window overlooking the back of our house. Nagkatinginan na ang lahat. Several years later, my ate moved abroad to work. So naiwan sa akin yung nabanggit ko na room fully for myself. Mas gusto ko talagang naglalatag sa sahig and doon na natutulog, leaving the bed empty. Peaceful naman sa bahay, but I think it's worth mentioning na multiple times ako nakaka-experience ng sleep paralysis in that room. The worst one though was having a nightmare na I was sleeping on the floor and someone with a sinister smile under the bed was laughing at me. So kaharap ko siya, jolting me awake for a moment, but somehow hinihila ako pabalik sa tulog with much force. Parang umaahon ako saglit sa conscious world, then quickly fades into black and I'm asleep struggling na makaahon ulit. That was the worst one na hindi na naman naulit. At least not as bad as that one. Nagigising naman ako after minutes of struggling with those sleep paralysis episodes, thankfully. It's been years since I've had those episodes as I started my career in the big city. I only started falling into sleep paralysis again when I moved into a rented studio condo with my partner in a premier area na once again katabi ng grasslands because it's a training ground for the army. With our stuff still boxed up, we spent our first night there peacefully. The next morning though, we woke up to a quote-unquote footstep on the edge of the bed mattress. Yung lukot ng mattress and bed sheet appeared na parang may nakatayo sa edge ng bed, feet together, facing inwards. My partner mentioned something about parang may nakatch siyang shadow at the corner of his eye the day we arrived, pero I immediately cut him off. I was not about to start our new life in this condo with a scare. We never talked about it, which perhaps led to a peaceful stay in that condo unit. Tumagal pa nga kami ng 3 years doon and nothing eventful happened. Partly thanks na rin siguro dahil I started practicing sage burning regularly. Did I mention the unit was on the 13th floor? I still fall into sleep paralysis every now and then. I do my best to attribute it to stress and exhaustion na lang. The last story is called Hotel. Simple lang ito, but it totally creeped out the hell out of me. Just recently, my partner and I checked in sa isang 5-star hotel for a little bit of staycation. I won't mention now which one, but this hotel temporarily closed out a couple of years ago, so when they reopened recently, we were very excited. Although there were speculations of renovations during the closure, wala naman kaming napansin na nagbago. I guess nag-deep clean lang talaga siguro sila and made some repairs during their closure. Our stay was generally fine on our final night. I really needed to get some sleep because we had an early start the next morning. As per usual, my partner slept to my left sa may direction ng window facing the city. To my right was yung walkway papunta sa entrance door ng room, minibar, bathroom, and a huge closet. Yung rooms pala sa hotel na ito are not your typical 4 walls type. A huge part of the room is pabilog yung layout. So given yung rounded design na ito, walang masyadong corners na may hidden spot. Everything is pretty much in your line of sight, no matter where you are in the room. The only light I kept on was yung footlight on my side. So the rest of this huge curved room, especially by the entry walkway kung nasan yung closet, was super dark. Mabilis naman kaming nakatulog, but I found myself suddenly woken up in the middle of the night, Campmaster. I wish it really was the middle of the night. But when I tapped on my iPad, on my nightstand, it was 3 in the morning. On the dot. Is it just my imagination, or did it really feel like someone stared me awake? I kept trying not to, but my gaze kept going back to the super dark area by the closet. I decided to turn on the TV without sound on para hindi ma-disturb yung tulog ng partner ko. But I can't help but feel like I'm being observed. Na-shake off lang yung feeling when my partner moved a bit, so I shut off the TV and forced myself to sleep. Boy, was I glad na walang sleep paralysis involved. Needless to say, I wasn't well rested the next day. While we were doing exercises outside early that morning, we saw from afar through the windows na a lot of rooms and several floors appeared to still be unused. Kasi may mga tambak na gamit na normally won't be propped on top of each other kung ginagamit yung rooms. I cannot confirm pero after our stay, according sa connections namin, hindi pa lahat ng floors open for booking. For more than 2 years, natenga yung buong building. Its brutalist design intensifying the quiet inside and the stoppage of activities during the lockdowns, bringing its halls to a prolonged standstill. I can only imagine who or what else found solace there before the doors reopened. Yan na muna, Campmaster. I guess these are the experiences na mas manageable yung fear factor compared sa ibang stories dito sa podcast. But thank you for giving my stories some airtime. My own stories may be tame, but I'll have my partner collect yung mga sarili niyang stories from the province. That will surely give you the chills. My partner likes your podcast format kasi, kaya naman okay sa kanya na mag-share sa'yo soon. Trust me, yung stories niya are even closer encounters. So, abangan mo yan, Campmaster. Hey, R. Wow, that was some collection of stories you got. Thank you at nakapagkwento ko sa amin. I really like one-off stories like these. Yung tipong naglalaro in between worlds and hindi mo confirm kung totoo ba yung naranasan ko. Something like that. The Grassland story mo, naalala ko yung visual ng isang horror story sa Netflix. Yung Watch in the Tall Grass from year 2019. Yung nawawala sa sarili yung mga taong na-stranded sa gitna ng grasslands. I'm sure hindi naman ganun ka-intense yung sa lugar nyo, but I guess that's how I pictured it. Baka nga may creature doon na sinusubukang mang-akit, for the lack of better term, ng mga napapadaan. Your other stories when your sister went into fainting spell and did not wake up, I remember Rob Rubin mentioned that Puera Usog is an anomaly when a creature from outside our reality touches us. And it confuses our biology and makes us sick. Yun talagang naisip ko na nangyari dun sa kapatid mo. Kawawa naman siya. Dapat talaga babies are specially looked after, no? And lastly, I think your staycation was in Makati, Shangri-La. Pinangalanan ko na kasi feeling ko ayun din yun. Sabi nga ng mga psychics, a quiet space is the best invitation for ghosts and spirits to dwell into. Imagine all those busy rooms before that suddenly became empty. Hindi malayo, no? Ano pa kaya mga lumang hotel ang mga may kwentong ganito? I can only imagine Manila Hotel, Manila Peninsula, and other old hotels in Manila. And yes, if your partner wants to share stories here, feel free to send a message. Or better yet, ipakwento nyo sa akin in a recording. Parang intense. Thanks, R.
Tigil muna tayo sa kwentuhan. Magbabalik tayo for another story from another camper. That and more coming up next. sa pagbabalik ng Santelmo Society ng Philippine Campfire Stories. Ang next story ay originally aired last June 2024 and it was sent by Ella. This is about her Tito Rolly. Naalala niyo pa ba to? Let's take back to Ella's story. Hi Camp Master, just call me Ella from Bacolod City. I'm a big fan at lagi ko po kayong pinapakinggan every time nagluluto ako ng almusal after ng graveyard shift ko po. VA po kasi ako. Thank you po at napili niyong basahin ito. Itong kwento na isi-share ko sa inyo ay kwento lang sa akin ng mga kuya ko na nangyari daw ng mga bata pa kami. 12 years old pa lang sila that time at ako naman ay 4 years old. Nakatira yung mga kuya kong kambal sa bahay ni Lola at ako naman at ang mas baby ko pang kapatid ay sa bahay namin nila mama na nasa looban lang din naman. Bale, yung bahay namin ay sasakay ka pa ng pedicab para makapasok. Kasama ng mga kuya ko sa bahay ng lola ang dalawa din naming mga tito na binata pa at that time. Yung lugar pala nila lola ay parang typical probinsya setup na puno ng malalaking puno sa paligid at kapag hapon ay madilim na agad. Tapos, malalayo ang mga kapitbahay. Yung bahay nila ay gawa sa kahoy na nasa taas yung kwarto at sala. Tapos, kailangan mo pang lumabas ng bahay para pumunta ng kusina at banyo sa baba. Isang gabi daw, lumabas ang tito namin na papangalanan na lang nating Rolly para magbanyo. Siyempre, lumabas siya ng main door tapos bumaba papuntang banyo. Nang bigla na lang daw silang mabulabog sa isang malakas at takot na sigaw. Dali-dali ang lola at mga kuya ko kasama ang isa pa din naming tito na lumabas para tingnan kung anong nangyari. Nadatnan daw nilang nakaupo sa lupa si Tito Rolly at nakatingala sa bubong. Bakas daw ang sobrang takot sa mga mata ng tito ko at masasabi mo talagang may hindi tama na nangyayari. Narinig ng ibang kapitbahay ang sigaw ni tito at nagsilabasan din daw para tumulong. Lahat sila ay nagtatanong kay Tito Rolly kung anong nakita niya. Pero hindi daw ito makasagot at nakatulala lang. Takot na takot daw ang mga kuya ko ng time na yon at yung isa pa naming tito ay pinatawag sila mama at papa sa bahay para sunduin ang mga kapatid ko. Natapos lang daw ang gabi nang hindi pa rin nila alam kung ano ang nakikita ni Tito Rolly. Dahil hindi pa rin daw ito nagsasalita. Ilang araw pa ang lumipas at tulala pa rin si Tito Rolly. Ayaw nitong lumabas sa kwarto niya at takot na takot. Hindi kumakain at makausap ng maayos. Alalang-alala na daw silang lahat. Dinala na daw nila sa ospital si Tito. At ang sabi, nervous breakdown daw. Kaya inuwi na lang nila at pinainom ng gamot na nireseta. Hanggang sa may nakapagsabi sa lola ko na ipatingin sa albularyo si Tito Rolly. Kaya ginawa din nila. Magdadalawang linggo na hindi nakakapagsalita si Tito Rolly hanggang sa pinagamot na nga ito sa albularyo. Laking pasasalamat nila nang sa wakas ay nakapagsalita na ito at sumagot sa mga tanong ng albularyo. Tinanong daw ng albularyo si Tito kung anong nangyari sa gabing yun. Ikinwento ni Tito na lumabas daw siya para magbanyo nang may narinig siyang may tumatawag sa pangalan niya. Rolly. Rolly. Lumingon daw ito sa paligid nang inaakala na mga barkada niya lang ang nagyayayang lumabas. Nang hanggang sa napatingin ito sa taas ng bubong at nasindak ito nang nakita niyang ang sarili niya na nakatingin sa kanya sa baba habang nakangiti. Parehong-pareho daw ang suot niya sa nilalang na kamukha niya. At sa muling pagsambit ng nilalang sa pangalan niya ay doon na siya napasigaw ng sobrang lakas. Rolly. 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 1990s nangyari ang tagpong ito sa pamilya namin. At nang tanungin ko si mama tungkol dito ay sinabi niya na totoo daw ito at ayaw na nilang mapag-usapan pa ulit. lalo na't wala na ang Tito Rolly ko ngayon. Namatay siya 3 years after nangyari sa kanya yon. Hanggang dito na lang po. Marami pa sana akong kwento kaso baka sobrang haba na nito. Sa susunod na lang yung iba. Maraming salamat at mabuhay ka at ang iyong podcast. Lubos na gumagalang, Ella. Huy, Ella. Anong nangyari kay Tito Rolly? At ano ang sabi ng albularyo? Pakausap nga dyan sa nanay mo. Nakakainis naman, bitin ka magkwento eh. I think I have shared sa listeners ng show na every time nakakarinig ako ng, for me, genuinely scary story, napapaluha yung mata ko. I think it's my body's natural reaction to the unseen stress that my mind is forming, I guess. So, sa pagsusulat ko ng episode script tungkol sa kwento ni Ella, nakailang luha ako. Kasi ako mismo, natatakot ako sa ginagawa ko. Pero dahil mahal ko kayong mga campers at ang ating horror-loving community, tuloy-tuloy lang tayo sa takutan. Sana marinig pa natin ang update sa naging kwento ni Tito Rolly. Kung meron pa, kasi syempre wala na si Tito Rolly. Pero anong sabi ng albularyo na paalis ba yung nilalang na kamukha niya? So, diba, parang maraming questions para dun. If you have the answers, feel free to let us know, Ella. Thank you so much for sending your story.
And isa pa sa mga nagbabalik nating mga segment ay ang camper shoutout. So, magbasa muna tayo ng comments from Spotify. Ang una nating babasahin ay kay Jay. Sabi niya, sa episode 297, sabi niya, sa episode ng When Protection to Darkness Fails, sabi ni Jay, did I hear that right? Pure Gold Legazpi as in Legazpi City? If yes, and if you're listening to this, Jean, please know that you may reach out to me. And I'm also from Legazpi, Albay. If you're still being harassed, I can assist you in taking legal actions. I also have professional friends who can help you process the trauma your ex caused. You are not alone and we can fight evil together, whether it's paranormal or human inflicted. Mag-ingat, tabi pirmi. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jai or Jay. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but sobrang salamat sa iniwan mong mensahe sa Spotify. Nakakatuwa kasi ito talaga yung nagbibigay ng validation na we are a community after all. Kahit na tayo ay mga horror story lovers, we still look out for each other. So, yun. Nakakatawa. Sobrang natuwa ako. Napadrama nga ako dun sa group chat natin isang araw. And call to action na rin kung hindi nyo pa alam kung paano mag-join sa group chat sa Facebook. Punta lang kayo sa episode show notes natin. Nandun yung link ng group chat. Click nyo yun, tapos nandun kami. Kukwentuhan. Anyway, yun nga sabi ko, nagdrama ako kasi parang sabi ko, grabe naman tong podcast na to na parang after all these years, nandito pa rin sila and nakikinig pa din sila. And sabi ko, parang napakaswerte ko bilang creator kasi hindi lahat ng creators na bibigyan ng audience, di ba? Parang hindi lahat ng content ay nakaka-survive kasi syempre kailangan mo ng following for you to have a little bit of traction. So sabi ko, napakaswerte ko kahit sa itong parte ng buhay ko na ito, parang sabi ko, parang may ginagawa akong tama. Ayun. So thank you so much, Jai. Sabi ni Oli No Mills dun sa comment na yun ni Jai, can you also whoop her asses? No, sorry. Can you also whoop her parents' asses for me kasi medyo nabwisit ako when she said they didn't believe her. Yun, medyo mahirap din yun. Medyo mahirap ding komentuhan yun kasi hindi natin alam yung side ng family niya, no? So, pero tama ka naman kasi kung nagsasabi na yung anak mo, parang dapat medyo panigan mo yung anak mo kasi anak mo yun, diba? Parang kahit pa paano, dapat imbestigahan mo yung nangyayari. Sabi ni EJ, I remember the first. Si EJ, sobrang pasalamat ako. Ang active nitong EJ, si friend kasi ito eh. Pagka nasa group chat, sobrang active niya talaga. Sabi niya, I remember the first time I listened to this podcast. That time, na-curious lang ako kung may mga podcast on Philippine horror or supernatural genre. Ito talaga yung PCS, ang unang napili ko. Hanggang ngayon, hindi pa rin ako nagsasawa sa boses mo. Hala. Plus points pa talaga kasi may engagement ka pa din sa mga listeners mo via camper shoutouts sa GC and sa mga Zoom recordings, considering na you have been doing this for years now. Stay safe po, CM and campers. Ay, ayoko na mag-react, may iyak ako. Recording pa ako. May ilan pa akong re-record na episodes eh. Salamat, EJ. Sobrang, sa mga panahon na ganito, na minsan, syempre may mga personal kang problema, no? Nakakatulong na marinig yung mga ganitong bagay. So, sobrang salamat sa inyo. Louie. Thank you for another episode, CM. You are really my top podcast, and I'm so glad I stumbled upon this on a random day when I was just looking for something to listen to. Tapos bigla na lang akong na-hook agad. I've been a silent listener for so long. Ngayon lang talaga ako napakomment. Pero sabi nga nila, when you notice something great about a person, you should tell them. Alam mo, I should take that into consideration. Tatandaan ko to, Louie. Tatlo palang Louie yan. Na kapag meron kang nakitang maganda, sabihin mo, no? Parang, kasi hindi mo na masabi yun. Tsaka masarap sa pakiramdam eh. Pag masabihan ka na maganda ginagawa mo, tama ginagawa mo, nakakatulong yung ginagawa mo. Yun. Masarap sa pakiramdam. So, salamat sa pag-iwan mo ng mensaheng to. Nakakatulong. Gail, sabi niya, Jane, I'm sorry this happened to you. Karma is on its way. Love and light. Sana okay ka na. Ay, thank you so much. Admin Gail, maraming salamat. Yun. Sabi, nag-message si Jean. Si Jean is from episode 297. Siya yung nagpa-house exorcism sa Cebu. Sabi niya, Hi Jean. Hi CM. Jean here from episode 297. Thanks for featuring my house exorcism story. Just letting you know that my name and Jane's name are interchanged in the episode show notes. So some of the comments are sending words of encouragement to me instead kay Jane, who need them way more than I do. Ayan. Salamat. Tinama ko na po. So, yung nagkaroon ng traumatic experience ay si Jane. Si Jean, yung may apartment sa Cebu. Ayun. Dagang salamat, Jean. Na nasa Abu Dhabi pero nagtatrabaho sa Dubai. Dami niyang dami niyang lugar. Sabi ni Kay, Jane, I hope you're safe and May 2026 be good. Ayan, maraming salamat. Josh, sa episode 295 naman siya nag-comment the day I heard them. Sabi niya, malakas talaga yung amoy ng tiangao. I remember the smell of it. I grew up in Iloilo and I noticed this superstition only exists in Bacolod, Iloilo region. Correct me if I'm wrong, of course. CM and fellow campers. Nakakakilabot rin yung story about the voices. Iba rin yung level of terror when your sense of smell or hearing picks up the presence of the supernatural. Parang it's further validation that they are real and it's not only in your imagination. Tama. Maraming salamat, Josh, sa pag-komento mo na yung tianggaw ay nahagip mo din sa Iloilo. Hindi ko rin alam. So, siguro sa mga campers na taga Iloilo, baka meron kayong kwento. Send nyo yan sa amin sa campfirestoriesph@gmail.com. Doon namin naaabangan yun. Or sa Spotify comment section. Yan. And like everybody else who shared their comment, punta lang kayo sa Spotify or sa YouTube or sa Facebook. Tapos comment kayo doon. And then, doon namin aabangan yung mga future shoutouts natin dito. Okay? Thank you. Dito na po nagtatapos ang ating kwento. For our campers na feeling mo ay good job ang podcast sa pagsama sa iyo sa mga araw-araw na gawain at naiibsan ang pagkainip mo. Medyo feeling generous ka today. you can send love and appreciation. Daanan mo yung PayPal account and GCash natin for your tips. The link is available in our episode show notes. Or better yet, go to our Patreon page. Magpunta lang sa patreon.com/campfirestoriesph at mag-subscribe to get some of the videos of our podcast. You can also search Philippine Camper Stories in YouTube and subscribe for some of the video clips available sa atin. You can also stay for the ads at the end of the show kasi those ads, they keep our show running here for free. At panghuli, kung may kwento ka namang gustong ibahagi sa ating camp ay pwede mong isend yan sa campfirestoriesph@gmail.com. At babasahin natin ang mga mapipiling kwento sa susunod na Santelmo Society episodes. Muli, maraming salamat po sa inyong pakikinig. Magkita tayong muli sa susunod na kwento. Ako si Earl at ito ang Santelmo Society segment ng Philippine Camper Stories.